I see you're watching this video on YouTube. I highly recommend checking out the description below to find my channel on Odyssey and Library. The platform is ad-free after making an account and it has no evil overlords. Thank you. Hey folks, today started out really rainy and really nasty, but it's actually turned out to be a really sunny, really nice day. It is super humid now, which is kind of like summer. I mean, it gets like, 80 to 100% humidity here with full sun in the summer, 90, 100 degree temperatures. I don't think it's quite that hot. It's probably just in the high 80s, but the full sun at this time of year is really hot, especially when it's humid. But I think I'm going to walk around the yard, show you guys some plants, kind of what we have set up since last year. I haven't done a video tour of the garden or farm or whatever you want to call it yet. So this will also be good documentation for the future for myself. Just knowing what was planted where, what everything looked like, how tall everything was. So yeah, let's head out and see what I got. It gets too hot for her once it hits 60 degrees outside. She don't like it. She comes in here and lays on the nice cold floor. Poor doggy. Here's an overview of the backyard from the house. You can see this little area here. This was a gravel circle where someone probably had a pool, and it floods really bad, especially up here. So like this whole area right here will be just covered in water when it rains. But there are actually weeds starting to grow in here, and last year we actually tried to grow in it, but nothing lived. And then my brother put that little green onion there, and it's been surviving. So I'm thinking this year we might be able to plant some of this out. I was thinking that maybe I'd have a ring of berry plants around the edge. So maybe like currants, or probably not blueberries. I don't like dealing with the pH of them, but yeah, so this will be a really cool spot to just kind of hang out. On cooler days it's really nice to sit there because the sun warms you up real well. So here's the side of the house. You got Charlie the cat, Cleo the dog, and my brother and I just moved this picnic bench here yesterday. It was actually over here on the patio. So back here, got pawpaw, some random weed, a native poppy, cut plant, more pawpaw, dandelion. I like those growing. They bring nutrients up from deep in the soil. This is in the mint family. Oop, don't focus on my finger. Supposedly it can be used for teas. This here is a thornless raspberry. So I hadn't heard of those before. I'm really excited for that. It's growing really well. There's a lavender. They call this Indian strawberry. It's just a wild, it's a wild native. Well, I don't know if it's actually native, but it grows wild around here all the time. I ended up finding that there's some lemon balm growing down here, which is really cool. And yesterday we planted a rattlesnake bean down there. I had already started the seed. It didn't sprout on its own down there. And then you got another pawpaw back there. You got, I think that's brown turkey fig right there. This is a Chicago hardy fig. You can see it's done pretty well over the past few years. Last year we got a few good figs on it, and this year it's actually, usually the frost and all the freezes over the winter kill it to the base, but it's actually sprouting at the bottom of these branches from last year, so I think we're going to have a lot more this year. Here's a service berry, and we also put another rattlesnake bean down there. This is like an herb patch, so this is sage. I think this might be like thyme or something, I'm not exactly sure, but it smells good. Blackberries. We got lots of nice blackberries here. They get huge to where you can only hold like 3 in your hand. You can also see strawberries all throughout it, this area. This is where I originally planted a row of strawberries a few years ago from when I got some free. There is a bronze fennel here, which came back this year. I'm super excited about that. I can just keep walking this way. So this is not native, but it is goji berry. This big thing here got a blueberry plant here. It's been here 4 or 5 years, and you can just see how small it is. Whenever we got wood chips this year, I put down all the pine needle wood chips in this area for this guy, because usually by time this year, I mean it's only May, the leaves would be out, but they'd already be yellowed and red and all sick and nasty looking. I've only had one blueberry off of this its entire life. So I'm excited about all these flowers. Finally get to try some. I forgot to mention back when we were over with the serviceberry. Serviceberry is supposedly almost like a blueberry tree, so I'm super excited about those because they're somewhat native. Okay, this section here, I've just got some random yellow irises my dad gave me. This pot here grows spearmint, which I'm super excited about. But I also eat this. I think it's not chickweed. What is it? Henbit, maybe? And then the wild geranium, I do not eat that. Pretty sure it's got irritants in it. Here's some white irises that someone gave me for free. Let's see. Go back over here. This area is full of native butterfly plants. So you can see common cut plant, as well as, or common milkweed, sorry. And I think these guys are maybe swamp milkweed. But this area, I mean, it just gets tall. It's maybe like 6 feet tall, which is super cool. In front of the greenhouse, I just have, I think that they are English holly. Not exactly sure. They're not actually planted. I just put them on top of the soil and then cover the roots with wood chips because I might just rip them out. I'm not sure yet. Continuing on. This is a cherry. Let's look at the tag. Find out exactly what kind. It's a bush. It's a sour bush that stays really small. There you go. So it's naturally dwarfed. And, oh, I didn't realize it had the cold hardiness. This is the only plant that I covered when we had a few frosts a few weeks ago. And it's got little cherries on it. There you go, little cherry. Bunch of little cherries. I'm nice and excited about those. I've never grown a cherry plant before. I planted it last year, so this is the first time flowering. Back here I've got a shade garden. So, along with the butterfly plant there, that's actually one of my cat's graves. And this is also one of my cat's graves. So this spice bush here is where he was laid. Recently we put some native irises down, wild ginger, mayapple, what is this, jewelweed? Back there, I think it was corn mint, as well as waterleaf. And this guy, I'm pretty sure, is an elderberry, which volunteered here, probably thanks to a bird, so I'm going to leave that. I'm fine with that, because actually, I've got another elderberry here. This one I actually planted, and I also have a little strawberry that keeps getting trampled by Cleo, so its leaves keep going away. And then over here, come back to the rain barrel area. Got these guys hooked up to the garage. And I actually need to put that back on, whoops. Compost bin. This is an elderberry, which I found last year. And it's supposed to grow straight up. So it maybe only gets 3 feet diameter, which is neat. Plus it's red, which is really cool. So it'll kind of be like a tower at the edge of the garage that blocks you from being able to see the compost bin from everywhere else in the yard. So that's going to be cool. That's one of my brother's favorite plants that we've got so far. This area is fenced so Cleo can't trample stuff. So back in this row, I laid cabbage seed a few weeks ago, and those are starting to come up. And in this row and this row, I laid lettuce seed, which might be starting to come up. There's maple trees around here, and the maple helicopters are actually landing in there, and they're starting to sprout. So I don't want to pull any weeds yet until I actually know which is which. Which, you know, the maple is kind of obvious because it's red maple and it doesn't look anything like lettuce. But just to be sure, I want to make sure that I let as many lettuces as possible start coming up. There's Cleo hunting bees. She loves eating wood bees for some reason. I don't know. In here, I guess I can go ahead and show you this. Tulip tree, state tree, and this here, every once in a while, I accidentally pull up sourgrass. So it's actually wood sorrel, but around here people call it sourgrass. So when I go to eat it, I accidentally pull the whole plant up. So I just figured, hey, why not just put it in a pot instead of letting it lay on the ground and die or just finishing it off. And down here I've got a few sun sugar tomatoes. They're clones from a plant I've got growing in my basement. More rattlesnake beans that we just started yesterday. This is okra that's been in there for maybe a few weeks, and it's actually just starting to germinate. We found a few yesterday. Yeah, so there we go. There's one. I think she got it. I don't hear the buzzing anymore, and she's chewing real loud. Jeez. So I forgot to mention, back here in this shade garden, there's also hostas that my dad gave me, as well as more of the yellow iris. There's some spiderwort back there that came on its own. It's a native plant. I think there's some more wild ginger in here somewhere. And did I already mention that pawpaw there? Super excited about pawpaw. It's one of my favorite fruits. So continuing from the elderberry, let's head to the right. There's the shade garden over there. Here is a plant that I'm super excited is coming back. It is passion flower. So it's actually a native version of passion fruit to the Midwest. And it actually has fruit that you can eat, and also the leaves are edible. Kind of similar to spinach, some people say. I think they actually taste a lot better, and they don't really have the oxalic acid problem. But the fruit is supposed to be less sour than the normal one, so, you know, that sounds even better. So I'm super excited about this. It grows as a vine, so I've got this here. So it hopefully just takes over this whole building. I think every year it does die back to the roots, which is why, you know, last year it was really small when I planted it. I found it near the end of the year, so I'm hoping this year it just takes off. And behind me, we have got a native persimmon. So it's busting out now. And then 2 pots of strawberries next to it. If we walk over here, my brother and I just did something yesterday. So these are patches of false indigo baptisia. This one's a shorter one, grape. Those are, one's yellow and one is white. I don't know which one. One's like vanilla cream and I don't know the name of the other. But in the compost bin, we found a bunch of squash plants or something. So, hey Cleo, get out of there. Hey, go on. Dang. So they could be cooking pumpkin. They could be spaghetti squash. They could be quite a few things, but you know, they're free, so we just went ahead and raked the wood chips aside, put them into the soil, and we're just going to see what happens. So it could be cool if it gives us something that we want. Otherwise, it's just free ground cover. Over here, next to the greenhouse, is another serviceberry. This one is actually a domesticated breed. It's got a tag down here. Standing ovation. So this one I actually got from a nursery. The other two that I have, I got from native plant sales. So this one's just now going to flower. But over here, there's another one that already flowered, but we had a few days of like 30-mile-an-hour wind, and it snapped off. So you can see here, it's broken, and up here it's broken. It's because this plant was already probably like this tall, but yeah, the wind, since it was just a straight up and down, just snapped it with all the leaves and flowers it had. So it's still alive, which is good, and it's still growing. But we won't get any berries from it this year since, you know, all the flowers got broken off. And then I hid a strawberry behind it. You might be wondering what this patch is here. Why would someone surround an area with logs and put a gate on top? That seems weird. Last year, we came through here with a ton of pawpaw seeds, and we just stuck them in everywhere. Now, pawpaw seeds don't sprout until like maybe July, or maybe you don't even see them until August. So I didn't want squirrels, rabbits, dogs running around in here trampling and killing seedlings. I want as many pawpaws as I can get. So this area is a no-go zone until those come up and we actually can, see them. We want to protect them. Plus, they need to be protected from shade for their first, 2 to 3 years. So this area might help, putting shade cloth over it or something if they don't get that big by the end of the year. Next up, this is a chestnut tree. So it's a native chestnut, but it's 1/16 Chinese chestnut so that it resists the blight that the Europeans brought over. So this is currently my only nut tree. I'm hoping to have more, but right now, look at this thing. This thing's going crazy, and I just planted it last year. It was small last year, and the leaves didn't look so well, but it looks really happy now. And also these wood chips, they were just finished, over the winter. So last year, this area was still, mostly grass all back here. So it didn't have the support of the mycelium and everything else, trying to keep it alive. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. I don't know when I'll actually get anything from it, but it's gonna be worth it. Back here in the corner, there's some yucca. It was already here whenever I moved in. It's what my bracelet there, my little ring, and my necklace that you've seen.